They don't always look at people in the fullness of their capacity, not just in what they might want, but in what they might bring.
Chiwetel, as Faraday is trying to acclimate to this planet, he imitates about 30 people around him, even in like the first 2 episodes. Is that like an actor's dream to be able to parse through those?
I guess it is, yeah. I think, it was really exciting to be able to play somebody who's experiencing the world for the first time, experiencing Earth anew, and also is assimilating so quickly that he's speaking in different languages and he's trying to try out different things and different accents and work and assimilate with different people. And that was definitely one of the things that really drew me in when I started reading the sort of beginnings of the story, that I was like, this is pretty exciting challenge, with this. And then it continues to go in these extraordinary directions.
Absolutely. And Naomie, you have mentioned in other interviews that you don't really like a long rehearsal process. So were some of these moments and some of these outbursts really a surprise to you? Were you not acting sometimes?
No, we didn't rehearse. Chiwetel did rehearsals with Alex, but Chiwetel and I didn't rehearse. So everything that was happening for the first time for me, especially, obviously in the first takes that we did. And so I was kept on my toes the whole way throughout filming, which is exactly how I like it. I like to be surprised.
I think it also works well with Justin not really know what's going on. So
Exactly. Yeah.
Justin's greatest triumph is achieving fusion energy, but it came at such a huge cost to her and her family. How does she balance that with Faraday's mission?
I mean, that's why she's so reluctant in the beginning to go on Faraday's mission, because she feels so much guilt and shame. She's racked with guilt, basically. She's made her whole life about punishing herself because of what happened. So she really doesn't want to go on that mission, but she also knows that, eventually comes to learn that the fate of the whole planet, and therefore the people that she loves most, hangs in the balance if she doesn't go on that journey. And that's what prompts her to join him eventually.
The series is not a remake, obviously, but it is more of a stylized sequel, Chiwetel, to obviously David Bowie's performance in 1976, as well as the book. But how does Faraday look at Newton here, who never came back to Anthea?
Well, they have a deeply kind of challenging relationship, and there is a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain and a sense of abandonment, and in particular with these two, because they had a strong connection on Anthea. So that sense of abandonment, that sense of loss, that sense of betrayal is very strong. So. But there's this deep connection, there's almost a kind of father and son sort of love and affection there, sort of underneath that all. So so they're challenged, they're very challenged by each other, and that's just fully explored as the show continues.
Faraday calls himself an immigrant several times in this show, but it feels like it means something different every time he says it. So did that term take on new meaning for you as the actor, as you, Chiwetel, playing this role?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that the nature of migration is so central to the themes of this story, and the way that we look at migration, the way that we look at immigration, I think is really, does have different tones, that people sometimes look at migration as a certain, and look at people who migrate or people who are displaced in certain terms. They don't always look at people in the fullness of their capacity, not just in what they might want, but in what they might bring. And that is, that's a fault, I think. That's a fault that a lot of us have, a lot of people have, a lot of humans have. I include myself in that context. That sometimes people look at things through a very narrow lens. And what Faraday is asking, I think, more than anything, is to explore opening the lens with how you look at a stranger, how you look at somebody who might be there to take something, might be there to offer a salvation that you could only have dreamt of.
This next question is for both of you, but I'll start with you, Naomie. Do you feel this is a story about an alien becoming human or about humans becoming more?
I think it's both, really. You know, it's definitely a story about an alien becoming human because, you know, we see Faraday when he first arrives and he's just so entirely focused on his mission. He has no concerns really about, it would seem, about the family that he's left behind. And I think through being part of Justin's family, he learns to come in touch with this thing that's an alien thing to him, which is his heart, his feelings, his emotions. And he gets moved and starts to really care. So I think that's a massive transition for him.
Yeah, I think it's on some level, absolutely, it's a story about an alien becoming human and trying to analyze what that might mean. You know, what it is to be human, and the nature of the complexity of the answer of that question. And at the same time, I think there is something about that. Faraday is challenging humanity to look at their own situation in a different way. And I think that's one of the things that really appealed to me about this, that he's not necessarily prescribing a course of action, but he's saying, you know, I can't tell you what the future will hold for you, but I can tell you what happened where I'm from, and you will do with that as you will, you know. And I think that's really powerful. And I think that is encouraging human beings to take more responsibility, you know, in some ways, so that Earth and the planet doesn't end up within the same context as Anthea.
I'm curious about what some of your favorite moments or lines are. I know mine is when he's yelling water in the police station. I want a t-shirt. But what's quickly each of yours?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know specifically, I suppose. I think that I have, you know, just so many favorite moments. You know, there's the whole sequence at the end of the fourth episode, without giving too much away, you know, where he's playing what seems like a kind of bit of music initially from Anthea, and it evokes all of these memories and feelings and emotions, and then he goes outside and meets Justin, Naomie's character, and they have a conversation, a very raw conversation about where they're both at. And I found that whole sequence so beautifully written and so wonderful to play, that I very much, in and amongst a number of scenes through the whole series that I loved, you know, I just held that whole sequence I just thought it was very special.
What I think I really loved is just all the family scenes. So being with Clark, who plays my father, and Annelle, my daughter, and then Chiwetel as well. I mean, I just thought it really felt like a family. It was really warm. It was really fun. And I think when all of us were together, it was really playful as well. So I always remember those moments really fondly.